Duncan, but I mean, as it comes to, just basic fundamentals of basketball and basic fundamentals of football, Brady is your guy. I mean, he's a pocket QB. He's very aware of what's going on around him, and he makes everybody else around him better. Tim Duncan, same thing. He's a fundamental player. I mean, he'll take you in the post and just hit you with the freaking, hook shot and off the glass, bam, every single time. I don't know. I just think that there's just these solid players who are just like overlooked, but I don't think Brady's overlooked in this regard, or neither is Tim Duncan. But it's incredible. Both these players are definitely Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, basketball and NFL. So
yeah, you'd see the two people that won the game for the Patriots, Tom Brady and Malcolm Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady was the 199th pick in the draft, and I think he was the last pick, and Malcolm Butler was undrafted.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
It just shows you don't need to be a first rounder to win games. You had two basically nobodies at the start of their career, both contributed to win this game for the Patriots.
Very, very big impacts on that game. Yeah, absolutely.
Just in a couple minutes, we're going to have Dan Burdick come on the air. Dan is a senior here at Quinnipiac, and he had the great pleasure of actually going to Arizona to see this game. He was at the Super Bowl in person. He'll come and talk about what his experience was like in a couple minutes. He actually had some problems before getting to the stadium with his tickets. Apparently the tickets that he bought were being used by someone else, and he was upset about it, and eventually everything worked out. So he'll be on soon to talk about that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. There was a lot of scams going on this year. A lot of people were buying tickets, and they weren't real tickets, or they were like double sold, and caused a lot of problems for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But yeah, fortunately Dan was able to go, and so were several other Quinnipiacs. I didn't realize how many connections I guess Quinnipiac students have, but there were several students from the university that made their way over to Arizona to watch the game.
Yeah, the Patriots running back coach's daughter goes here.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't
insane.
know that either.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I would love to be in that position.
But I think but we're overlooking the bigger story here about the Super Bowl. Left Shark. How do you feel about him? Halftime show. I mean, I was telling you guys, one of the funnier things that I saw was when Katy Perry was on that line. There was a meme of, saying this is the first time a Lion will ever get to the Super Bowl, because I don't think the Detroit Lions are anywhere near the Super Bowl level. But
they've been improving, but
no. I mean, Calvin Johnson, like I said, on paper, they have it. They have the running back game. They have Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, everything. But Super Bowl, no.
You know what team they remind me of? The Chicago Bears. A team that has the pieces, but for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to put it together. You look at the Bears. Look at that offense.
Yeah.
Matt Forte.
Alshon Jeffrey.
He's aside from Brandon Marshall. Martellus Bennett is your tight end, and you have Jay Cutler, who's not a bad quarterback. I don't know what happened this season. Jay Cutler's not that garbage of a quarterback that he showed this year. So, and then you look at the Lions. You have Matt Stafford, who throws one of the best deep balls in the NFL. Oh my
gosh, yes!
I hate his sidearm throw, but it works.
Yeah, he's a baseball player.
Yeah. Calvin Johnson. They have Jokey Bell, Reggie Bush, right?
Yeah, Reggie Bush.
Solid offensive weapons. They
Golden
just can't
Tate
get
now?
it done. Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Unbelievable. But
man, good talent. But for just a team that's just very confusing, very questionable. How are you not winning games this way? It's insane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now they have a conundrum. Do they re-sign Suh?
That's right. And yeah, I mean, he's one of the dirtier players in the NFL. I mean, but I don't know. He is a very good player. He is a very good player, but I know a lot of teams are definitely interested in him.
I heard your Dolphins were actually interested in taking...
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that'd be a help for their defense.
That would be.
Dan's calling in right now, so let's see if we can figure this out and get him on the air. Dan, can you hear me?
I can. How's it going?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Doing good. Just chilling out.
All right.
In the snow.
Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
All right. So, yeah, we were just talking about the Patriots. Can you just briefly explain your experience? What was that like going to Arizona, being able to watch Super Bowl 49 in person?
Wow. It was probably the greatest weekend of my whole life. It was crazy how we ended up getting the tickets. My dad's aunt passed away a month ago, and he just, I don't know if that's how he was grieving or what, but he was just like, I'm going to use the inheritance and we're going to go out there. So he took me, my cousin Stan, and my uncle Stan, and we flew out there on Thursday before the game, and it was awesome. We got out of the snow. It was actually raining out there in Arizona when we got there. But, yeah, it was like the greatest weekend of all time.
Yeah, I bet. Especially as a Pats fan, that must have been super
yeah,
exciting.
That would have been great.
Yeah, what was the atmosphere like? What do you think was the split between Seahawks fans and Pats fans?
Oh, the split was it was not good for Pats fans. Seahawks fans outnumbered us. I would say like 6-1 or
Wow.
I don't know. As the years go on, it might become 10-1. They had a lot more fans.
Well, I mean, yeah, Seattle is closer to Arizona than
distance-wise.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what the. Oh no! I was saying, I can only imagine what the crowd's like.
More of them because they're so loud and annoying. But and I honestly don't think they know much about football. It seems like a lot of bandwagon fans.
Shots fired.
The only thing they knew how to say was Seahawks. That's it. They didn't know anything about football. And like, if you like tripped them, that's all they would say was, "Oh, Seahawks, you guys cheat, deflate the balls."
Oh.
It's like, geez, your whole team took Adderall the year before, and that's how you won the Super Bowl.
All right, Dan,
Obviously
you're in the
some
stands.
hostility.
Patriots
Bias.
are down. Tom Brady delivers that pass to Julian Edelman for the touchdown. What's going through your mind?
Honestly, I wish I could have been more excited about the touchdown. I celebrated, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I'd seen the same movie twice before.
Very true.
Yeah.
And especially, it was in Glendale, so it was where we had already lost the perfect season. So I was just like, no, I can't believe we left 2 minutes on the clock. I wish we had run the clock down past the 2-minute warning and left maybe a minute, because I had no faith in the defense at that time. I had faith in Tom Brady. I knew Tom Brady was going to come through. I knew Julian Edelman was going to come through, but I wish I could have been more excited. But I had to remain subdued because the game was not concluded yet.
As we well know, with the Jermaine Kearse catch at the very end, kind of a repeat of David Tyree, right?
Wow, the Kearse catch. Yeah, that was unbelievable, to say the least.
Were you there with other Pats fans?
So I was down the end zone where the final play happened. We were up in the upper rafters, and so it was me, my uncle, my cousin, and my dad were all in a row. We had a couple of guys that were Pats fans right in front of us, although the quality of Patriots fan wasn't that great. They were kind of, I don't know if they were fake fans or what. And then behind us, there was like a couple more like fake fans. One guy was actually a Cardinals fan, but he was just rooting for the Patriots. But they were all part of our high-five circle. And then other than that, there was a lot of Seahawks fans around.
Wow.
But our section was fairly balanced.
All right, so Kearse makes that catch. Are you crying? Like, what's going on? You remember the Tyree, as Jason mentioned, and we're speaking with Dan Burdick, who actually went to the game. But yeah, what's just your reaction when he makes that catch?
Well, he made the catch, and I remember looking at my cousin's stand and just saying, I can't believe this just happened. And actually, I said to my dad earlier, I said, we've seen this movie before. And then they hit the first play, the lynch, and my dad was like, you're right, we have seen this movie before. It looks like the Manningham play, and then it looked like the Tyree play all in one drive, and we were just both like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
All right, so second down and goal from the 1.
Wilson drops back.
Second down and goal from the 1. My cousin Stan and I are sitting next to each other, and we're screaming at the top of our lungs, call a timeout. Why are they not calling timeout? Because we're thinking they're going in here 100%. They're on the 1-yard line, and Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, what is Bill doing? What is Bill doing? So we were red in the face screaming at Bill to call a timeout. And then I remember I saw Wilson drop back to pass, and I saw him throw for the goal line. And from our angle, it looked, to me, originally, I heard the crowd roar, and like I said, it was so many more Seahawks fans. I was like, he caught it. No. And then I was like, I saw Patriots players kind of like celebrating, or they were like diving on the ground, and I was like, oh, he knocked it down. And then I saw Chandler Jones sprinting down the field, and I was just like, intercepted!
And Malcolm Butler is the hero.
Malcolm Butler is the hero. It was unbelievable. That's the only word I really could use to describe it.
I'd hate to take away from your high here, but let's backtrack to actually before the game, before you even left for the game, with your whole ticket ordeal.
The ticket ordeal, that is a story for the ages. I'll tell you, that was equally unbelievable. So on Friday night, my mom forwarded me an email from the ticket company, which was Ticket City, and it said, urgent message, please call us. So I called twice on Friday night, and they didn't answer. So we went to bed that night and got up early Saturday morning, and my dad called at around, I'd say like 8:15 a.m., and I was laying in bed in the hotel room, and I hear the guy on the phone say to my dad, the ticket supplier bombed out. We don't have your tickets.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. We came all the way from Massachusetts for this, like once in a lifetime chance. My dad's old; he's a 60-year-old guy, and my Uncle Sam's 57, going on 87. So this was legitimately once in a lifetime opportunity for all of us. Like I said, it was not something that we normally would be able to afford. It was literally once in a lifetime. This is it. Tom Brady legacy game. Mm-hmm. And I can't even describe to you how bad we felt at that point. So my dad went, and he went down to the lobby because there were some people in our hotel who were working the game, and he was trying to get tickets from them. And my Uncle Stan said to us, he's just like, you can't give up. We have to try everything we can. So for the rest of the day, and I mean the rest of the day, from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m., we did everything we could to get tickets. And we called people I honestly don't think I've talked to some of these people in like 10 years. Anyone that might have a corporate suite, anyone that might have tickets, anyone that might have a connection to the Irish Mafia that might somehow be able to get tickets. Honestly, I tried everything. I was calling kids I don't even like and asking them if they could get tickets. We were all over social media. I think I tweeted at Troy Brown, Matt White, a bunch of Boston sports personalities, El Prez from Barstool. I mean, I tried everything. I was desperate. We were so desperate. My dad and I tried to go to the bank and see if we could withdraw money because the Ticket City offered us a full refund for our tickets plus an additional $8,000. So we were thinking, maybe we go withdraw money and see if we can get tickets off a scalper. And a couple times during the day, I called Ticket City and I spoke with their CFO. And both times I called him, the guy told me there was very little chance that we were going to get tickets. He basically said the secondary market had caused the ticket prices to go up so high that they were just straight up gone. The tickets didn't exist anymore. Oh, wow. So, yeah, we were probably like the 4 sorriest looking Pats fans walking around. So, we ended up going to the stadium actually because we heard there were tickets there. And we got there, and the ticket prices had gone all the way up to $9,500 per ticket.
Oh, my gosh.
And we originally got all 4 of ours for less than that. So this was completely out of our price range. And at this point, it's around 5 p.m., and we had completely struck out with everyone. Like, all my friends were calling me saying, this fell through, that fell through. We were literally just defeated. We were at the lowest point. There was no more hope. Everyone that we thought could maybe come through had not come through.
Wow.
And so we were basically, my cousin and I were just ripping on Ticket City all day. I think I looked it up, and I tweeted at them like 20 different times, and I retweeted like 15 other people that had the same thing happen to them. And we were just tearing them up. I mean, terrible things that you would never say to someone's face. And eventually, someone that was running their Twitter account at Ticket City, they messaged my cousin Stan, and they were like, why do you keep attacking us? We don't even have you down as someone who ordered tickets from Ticket City. And my cousin was so mad. He said, I don't even want to talk to these people, Danny. You got to direct message them. So I'm like, all right, I'll direct message them. And the lady was like, well, we have you down as having accepted the refund offer of the money for the tickets. And I said, we 100% never accepted that offer. And the only thing that will make this right is if you get us our tickets. And she was like, okay, I'll pass the information along to our people in Phoenix. Well, I just imagined that's how she sounded since it was over Twitter. And so we went back to the car, and we were driving back to the hotel, and I'm telling you, it was the saddest car ride I have been in a long time, maybe ever. I mean, bucket list item right in front of your face, less than 24 hours before the game, and you just see your tickets vanish. Oof. I mean, it was sadness. Everyone in that car was extremely sad. My cousin Stan was saying he wasn't even going to watch the game. He was never going to watch football again. I was trying to stay upbeat, but I was so sad.
Wow. And again, for all our listeners, we're on with Dan Burdick, senior at Quinnipiac University. Fortunately for you and your family, everything worked out, and you managed to go. Now,
yeah, so then it ended up, the CEO called me, and he said that we were kicking their ass on social media, and he wanted to offer a truce. And I was like, truce? Well, what kind of truce? And he said, we're going to get you guys your tickets.
All right.
So for anyone out there listening, that seriously is the power of social media. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
Straight up, just relentless social media pursuit is the only way we would have got those tickets.
Yeah. Don't give
we
up
tried
on
everything. No, absolutely not.
Unbelievable. All right. Thank you, Dan, so much. Before we let you go, any predictions for the Patriots next season?
Patriots next season, I may never watch sports again because I will never reach a mountain peak as high as last weekend. But my prediction is that they easily win the AFC East and are probably going to be in the AFC Championship. And there's a good chance they start a whole nother dynasty again and go on to win 3 or 4 more titles before Brady and Bill hang it up.
And what happens with Darrelle Revis this offseason?
Darrelle Revis is going to get a contract extension with the Patriots that will sign him at least for another 3 years.
So wow, Revis Island will remain in New England.
Wow.
100%. Mark it down. Write it down.
Bold predictions.
All right, Dan. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, guys, and good luck with your first show.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Take care.
Adios.
That was Dan Burdick, who managed to get to the Super Bowl. Wow. What an experience that must have been.
Loved to go to the Super Bowl and watch my beloved New England Patriots win. The craziest game I think I've ever seen.
I mean, especially following up a Super Bowl, which was just so bad last year. I mean, from the first play, the safety from Peyton Manning, like, come on, man. And then now to this Super Bowl, which was just generally insane. It's funny that you're talking about season predictions next year, because I just got a team stream saying that Peyton Manning is undergoing training with the intent to play in 2015. So I'll be an unbiased Broncos fan, but I still think that they're gonna top our division, the AFC West. I think they're also gonna make the playoffs next year. Now, who do you think is the biggest competition, for the Patriots? Is it coming from the AFC side, or is it coming from the the NFC side? Is it, would it be the Colts? Are the Colts coming back this year with, T.Y. Hilton, Andrew Luck, that whole gang, of the Broncos? They're going to be just as strong as they were, last year, or do you think it's going to be, the Packers with Aaron Rodgers winning that MVP, even though they're cheated? But who knows who's going to take on the Patriots? Because it looks like the Patriots are here to stay.
It does. I see the Colts, like, if they can toughen up their defense a little bit. And with Andrew Luck, he's such a great quarterback. He's up and coming. He's really every year he's getting a little bit better and better. So he's going to get there. So they're a big worry. If Peyton Manning can stay healthy and not repeat what happened this year.
What a meltdown.
The Broncos another good competition for the Patriots.
Josh?
The Colts, they interest me the most by far, just because of Andrew Luck, like Jason said. Mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
But
young.
He's not only mobile, he works so well in the pocket. A lot of these quarterbacks we're seeing today, the RG3s, Russell Wilson to a little bit of an extent, not as bad as RG3. I think he's the worst. Kaepernick's another good example. These guys like to look, one, maybe two reads. If they don't get anything, they take off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With Luck, he has that ability to run. He will run from time to time. But I think he has the best pocket presence and the best composure of those quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
Like everybody else, they're run as soon as you can, but Luck, I think, is I'll go through all my options, and if nothing's open, I can run.
Absolutely.
I think that's what makes him a little bit more versatile, because you don't know exactly what he'll do.
And I think you're definitely right, Josh. I mean, just the game the Seahawks played against to get into the Super Bowl, like when they were going for the 2-point conversion. I mean, Russell Wilson, he looks like he's going on a bootleg. He's running 5-10 yards back, and then all of a sudden he just stops and throws that ball to the other end of the field and hits the guy over the back shoulder for that 2-point conversion. So, like, I definitely think Russell Wilson has the ability to throw the long ball, and he can bootleg and toss it. But I think quarterbacks like Colin Kaepernick and Russell Wilson are definitely a run-first quarterback. With, if the pocket collapses or something happens there, they're gone. And they have the ability to run, but RG3, I don't know, too much hype over him, and he's not the best fit for the Redskins gang.
What is the deal with the Redskins? So, one, they might not even be the Redskins for that much longer.
Yeah.
Two, who knows what they're doing with their coaching situation? They change, it seems, every year.
Yeah.
RG3, Kirk Cousins, who's the quarterback?
Yeah.
They just have a ton of question marks in Washington right now.
The only thing that's good for them is Alfred Morris. That's it. He's decent. He's a solid running back.
I had him on my fantasy
team. That's right.
More than half the year, I got nothing out of him.
Really?
I was so mad.
All right, fantasy points doesn't necessarily translate to what they do on the field.
Right.
But I do see what you're saying.
Deshaun Jackson? D-Jax?
He's the deep ball threat.
Yeah.
But it's either deep ball threat or nothing.
Yeah.
Basically what Deshaun Jackson
He also needs a better quarterback.
To throw him that ball.
If you don't have a good quarterback to throw him the ball for
True.
his routine, I don't think he can be up to his full potential.
Absolutely.
And then you look at Pierre Garçon, who last season led the NFL in receptions as a wide receiver.
Oh, wow.
Did he?
He led.
Wow.
And then what did he do this year? Goose egg.
Yeah.
Right.
They had two fantastic wide receivers by name in Garçon and Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson, yeah.
There were games where both of them were very good. Mm-hmm. They had some solid plays. Deshaun Jackson went over 100 yards multiple games this year. So did Garçon, but it just couldn't translate enough. They weren't consistent.
Yeah.
And it sucks that it comes from the quarterback. I mean, you have these players around you, and if you have no one under center that's just like good enough to get you that ball, it's just your team kind of falls apart.
No chemistry, it seemed.
Absolutely.
I mean, you lose RG3 as soon as he's back from his other injuries, and then Kirk Cousins, and then RG3 comes back, and
it's a weird situation.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And that reminds me of like the Eagles when they were younger. They had Michael Vick and all those players and things like that. But the Eagles have now turned it around. I mean, Nick Foles, I think he's a really good quarterback.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I came out of nowhere. Good thing Michael Vick's no longer there. But is he a Jet?
Yeah,
he's a Jet now. But it's okay. I think Nick Foles is good. Mark Sanchez backing up Nick Foles. What the heck happened there?
He was good in those games.
Yeah,
and it's just so disappointing to see that. Because,
my God.
Oh, man. After those two, the Jets went to back-to-back AFC Championship games with Mark Sanchez under center, and then he just regressed and regressed and regressed after that. Goes to Philadelphia. Foles is hurt. Sanchez steps in.
What?
Not amazing games, but
good
he
enough.
threw some good games, and
I mean, for the Jets, I mean, the butt fumble is kind of just when his career started to come down a bit in New York City. I think the best thing for him is he left New York to go to Philly, most definitely. But oh man,
yeah. On this conversation of quarterback talk, I'm looking at the NFL standings from this season, and you just look at the top teams in each conference in each division. All the top teams have an amazing quarterback.
Yeah.
The NFL is a quarterback-driven league.
Absolutely.
If you don't have that, you aren't going anywhere. AFC East, the Patriots, Tom Brady. The Pittsburgh Steelers from the north with Ben Roethlisberger.
Solid. Yep. Big Ben.
The Bengals and the Ravens also made it from that division. So you have Andy Dalton, who... all right. Probably a little overrated.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of overrated, who's more overrated than Andy Dalton is Joe Flacco. Signed the fattest contract ever.
He is
quarterback. He turns it up in the playoffs. Yes, he's done it twice now.
But he's not an elite quarterback. You're
not
right,
at
Jason.
all.
You're so right.
You have the Colts from the South, Andrew Luck, who will be the quarterback of the future very soon.
Yep.
Then you go to the AFC West. You have Peyton Manning, who's arguably one of the best regular season quarterbacks.
Well said. Very well said. Yeah.
Yep. Then you go over to the NFC. You have the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo.
He was amazing this year.
Did not choke this year.
Season.
Yeah, he was the reverse of a choke artist.
Waiting for the part of the year where he just chokes and it all goes downhill, but he proved me wrong.
He even played with a broken back or something. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a fantastic team there. Yeah. Lots of offense. NFC North, you have the Green Bay Packers. So Aaron Rodgers, the MVP.
Best quarterback in the league.
That boy can throw the ball.
Oh, man. And with Jordy Nelson, Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
It's a really fun team to watch. We're going to skip the NFC South because...
Count. What are you talking about? Cam Newton is so good.
College teams could beat them.
Then you have the NFC West rounding it out with Russell Wilson. So,
yeah.
If you don't have the quarterback, you're not going anywhere.
And actually, prime example of that, Arizona Cardinals. Carson Palmer. I mean, they were amazing in the first half of the season. In the latter half of the season, when they had that, who was his replacement? I have no idea.
Third or fourth string.
Yeah, they had to go to their third string quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, boom, what happened? They ended up just crumbling and collapsing. So definitely, this league right now is a quarterback-driven league. By far, you can't win 100% of the games on the ground.
I'm looking at this NFC South, and it reminds me so much of the NBA.
Perfect segue.
So. The Carolina Panthers won, and I'm putting "won" in quotations because they finished the year 7-8-1, and they made a playoff spot.
That's ugly.
Default.
So ugly.
7-8-1, and a team like that finishes under 500 just does not deserve to make the playoffs. Every team in that division finished under 500, and that's just ridiculous.
And even for an Atlanta Falcons team that you have Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, you have good players on that Atlanta Falcons team. It just, again, is it chemistry? What does it come down to? I mean,
they choked in the last game of the year. They win that game. Yeah. They go to the playoffs and they got blown out.
Absolutely. And even the Carolina Panthers too. Cam Newton. I mean, I'm not saying he's the best quarterback, but he is a quality quarterback. He's another scrambler quarterback that likes to run out of the pocket. He's a little hard-headed and he's very ego-driven. But when you have players like Steve Smith on that team now, and he's gone. He's on the never mind. Carolina's terrible.
The reason I brought up that terrible South Division is because the NBA is another hot topic right now, specifically the whole conference alignment and what teams make the playoffs and what teams don't. So right now, you have the top 8 from each conference, the East and the West, and they go head-to-head, 1 versus 8 on each side. You look at this Eastern Conference.
My God.
It's basically an expanded NFC South where you have more garbage teams. The Atlantic Division, here's a fun stat for you that I looked up the other day, and I think I shared this with you.
Yep.
Make sure you follow me on Twitter, _BCS, for some fun sports news. The Western Conference as a whole has 5 teams under 500. That was as of a couple days ago. Let's see what they have now. The Denver Nuggets, Utah Jazz, Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, 5.
Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers, and that's it. Those 5. You look at the Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference by itself. Every team other than the Toronto Raptors, the 4 remaining teams are all under 500.
And there's 9 teams under 500 in the Eastern Conference. The San Antonio Spurs, who are the 7th seed in the Western Conference, they would actually be the 3 seed if they were in the East. That is insane. I mean, teams like Charlotte and Miami who are making these playoffs, I mean, they are 7 games under 500, 8 games under 500. I mean, with the resurgence, I shouldn't say resurgence, with the upcoming of Hassan Whiteside, like what? I mean, yeah, Miami has a shot at winning some more games because he's becoming a really good center, but I mean, come on, 21 and 29, and you're making the 8th spot in the playoffs. We ain't talking about regular season. We talking about playoffs.
You know, I love my Nets. I love my Nets more than anything, but the fact that the Nets are technically tied record-wise with the Heat for the 8th spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs is pathetic.
Yep.
You look at this Western Conference, which is so stacked. There are so many good teams. If the playoffs started today, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the former MVP Kevin Durant, the scoring champion Kevin Durant, would not be in the playoffs.
But yet both Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are making the All-Star game. So we are praising 2 players. I mean, absolutely, they're amazing players, but they're not even in playoff contention. But you look at teams like Memphis, say, Zach Randolph, Mike Conley. This team is 38 and 13. They have 1 player representing them. You have the Atlanta Hawks, who have 3 players representing them, possibly a 4th if someone were to get injured and Kyle Korver gets named. You know, the fourth player. It's insane that the Oklahoma City Thunder is under 500 and they're not in the playoffs this year.
They're 1 game over.
They're 26
and 25.
That's right.
But some of that can be attributed to injury.
Right.
Kevin Durant's
Absolutely.
been out. Teams been shaky. I don't think Scott Brooks is a great coach. As a matter of fact, since the season's not going spectacular, I think Scott Brooks will be gone from Oklahoma City after this season just because they have not made the changes necessary to improve. You go from having Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. If you have that team now,
that's insane.
You are, especially even in the West, you're still unstoppable. Who's going to stop that?
Nobody.
That's an offensive juggernaut. That James Harden trade where they got Kevin Martin, that is going to go down as one of the most lopsided trades of the 2000s just because they got nothing out of that. They're now trying to replace him with Dion Waiters.
That's not going to happen. Nope. Not as good.
Yeah, he's just not nearly as good a talent as James Harden was.
And look at James Harden now. Look at him on the Houston Rockets. I mean, every time I look at him, he's scoring like 30 plus, 40 plus a night. Like, are you serious? And you heard the intro. I really still can't believe Kendrick Perkins is in the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder should have done something to get that Brook Lopez deal.
They have their amnesty clause still, so they can amnesty Kendrick Perkins. He wouldn't play for the team. They'd still pay him, but he wouldn't count towards their salary cap. I don't understand why they haven't done that.
Right.
He's not good. You have Nick Collison. You have Steven Adams.
Right.
Both of whom are way more serviceable than Kendrick Perkins is. Scott Brooks is going to be gone after this year.
Steven Adams he's injured now. He has to do surgery on his hand or something like that. So you are looking pretty lackluster at that center spot in OKC. And I mean, you have Serge Ibaka, but he's good, but he's no if you had Brook Lopez, that'd be so much better. It's a better 2-way player.
Another team in the Western Conference, the Pelicans.
Anthony Davis, what a guy.
They're sitting at 24 and 27.
The brow,
which is unfortunately not good enough to make the playoffs. So,
I mean, but do you think that the Phoenix Suns will hold that 8th spot? I don't think so.
It's tough. The Suns are right now 1 game ahead of the Pelicans, 2 ahead in the win column for that 8th seed. I would love for Anthony Davis to make the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Just because he's such an amazing talent. He's the next great player in the NBA after LeBron.
Absolutely.
He's up there, 29, 30 years old.
Yeah. And the thing with, what sucks about Anthony Davis is, he, early on in the season, he was in consideration for talking about MVP. I mean, he's still in consideration for talking about MVP. However, he's just on a team that's just not that good. But when you look at players like Stephen Curry and James Harden, they are on extremely very well-rounded teams and good winning teams. And Steph Curry, I mean, he can... The great thing about the Golden State Warriors is that Klay Thompson and Steph Curry at any given night can score 50+. That is amazing when you have 2 players who can do that. James Harden, same thing. So I definitely think that Steph or James should be MVP this year. I don't know about LeBron. He's been doing great, but these guys deserve it way more than LeBron does this year.
I totally agree. Just because LeBron's been injured, which isn't a knock against him, but you don't deserve it as much if you've sat out for 2 weeks, whereas guys like Steph Curry and James Harden, for the most part, have been on the floor the entire season. But just going back to Anthony Davis, it's so unfortunate, one, that he plays in the Western Conference, and two, that he plays in a market that isn't spectacular. So you take him and that New Orleans team, and let's just say they're in the Eastern Conference, all of a sudden, I think he gets more buzz because his team would be in the playoffs if they played in the East. They would be the seventh seed, a game behind the sixth seed, the Milwaukee Bucks. Which is another fantastic story with Jason Kidd. Whatever Jason Kidd is telling those kids in Milwaukee is fantastic because they're buying into it. Yeah. And that team's actually exciting for once.
He's making Brandon Knight look good. How is that possible?
And Brandon Knight, he's had some rough times. Just ask DeAndre Jordan, Kyrie Irving. It's not been an easy go-around for Brandon Knight. But, if you put Anthony Davis in that Eastern Conference, or just move him out of the Southwest Division where every team's over 500 and every team except the Pelicans would make the playoffs, I think he would get a lot more talks in the MVP.
And you know what's great, too, about him being on the Pelicans is there's no other star player on that team, so he's the face of that team. I think that's awesome for the Pelicans. Like, when I look at teams that are bad, like the Denver Nuggets, Ty Lawson, he's really good, but I really don't see him as a face of the team. I kind of see Kenneth Faried as a face of the team because he traveled, with the men's team, and he is a good player. He's not doing too well now, but when you look at other really good teams, though, and you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, who's the face of the Milwaukee Bucks? Giannis Antetokounmpo? Come on, is Kyle Korver or Jeff Teague or Paul Millsap, Al Horford? Who's the face of the team? For Atlanta? There's no one person. It's all five people. And just recently, all five got named to the, for the Player of the Month or Player of the Week, for Eastern.
Right, Eastern Conference Player of the Month. Yeah. Right. All five players got it, which is, a testament to just how good team basketball they're playing. Right. Going into this season, people knew the Hawks were going to be good just because they were good last year, and they didn't have Al Horford for most of the season.
Right.
And they've just turned it around. They're playing well. Kyle Korver is shooting upwards of 54% from deep, which is phenomenal.
His three-pointer is like a layup to him. Are you serious?
And, they're contested. I don't understand how he's doing it. A good season. People were freaking out when LeBron was shooting close to 60% from the field. Korver is shooting almost 55% from three.
Yeah. This is ridiculous.
Which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Speaking of threes, the three-point contest.
Oh, my gosh. I honestly think it's going to be better than the dunk contest. I mean, Marco Bellinelli has to be in it because, he's defending his title from last year. I mean, fine. But, Kyle Korver, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, I think Kyrie Irving's in it, right? I mean, these are just... James Harden's in it too, is he? Yeah, it was just insane. These are players who can just knock down the deep ball. But honestly, I think it's going to be more of a race between Steph, Klay, and Kyle. I mean, that's just going to be so enjoyable to watch. It's going to be insane. And they took the teams out too, so that's really cool.
Yeah, the Golden State Warriors are basically the Atlanta Hawks of the West. They're 40-9, and Steve Kerr just walked into the biggest candy store in the history of candy stores, and he can do whatever he wants with whomever he wants, and it just so happens to work out. That team has been so much fun to watch between Klay Thompson and Steph Curry going off, any given night. And then you have, say, Draymond Green, who some are arguing is the MVP of this team just because of how solid he's been.
So improved.
Right.
And then Iguodala coming off the bench, such a smart move. That's amazing. Good role for him. He's getting older, but that punch, that power that he comes off the bench, it's so helpful for that team. No, definitely. But I think I don't know, the Memphis Grizzlies, they're really good too. I don't know. I think the Memphis Grizzlies will definitely secure that second spot. I think the Warriors will definitely keep the first spot, and we could be potentially looking at a Golden State Atlanta finals. But in a 7-game series, I think Atlanta will probably lose to a team like Chicago or maybe even Cleveland because how far can Atlanta really go with the way they're playing now? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful basketball, but if we have an Atlanta and Memphis final, that would be kind of boring to watch. I mean, it's not the most exciting. But if we have something like Golden State and Cleveland, that would be so exciting to watch.
A lot of hype to that.
Most definitely. So we should probably move it over real quick to baseball with the news that Alex Rodriguez is coming back to the Yankees. How do you think he will fit in with that current system right now?
He won't.
Exactly.
Short and simple. The Yankees have a lot of designated hitters. They're old. I just don't see how he's going to fit. I don't want him to fit personally. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm not a fan of Alex Rodriguez at all. But, it is what it is. I guess we'll see what happens. Spring training's kicking up soon, and we'll just have to hope for the best, I guess. But that's all the time we have this week. We thank everybody who tuned in. Shout out to Dan Burdick, for coming on and talking to us about the Super Bowl. We'll be back on next week, next Monday at 8. So make sure you tune in. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.